Phones are getting pretty good these days, but can this 2-year-old Huawei P20 Pro handle video editing? Welcome back to the channel, my name is Sam, and before we start I'd like to remind you all to please subscribe if you haven't already. We upload videos every week on video production, music production, photography, gear, tech, all that good stuff, so please subscribe, notifications on to stay updated on our latest videos. So this week is another kind of video I wasn't really planning on doing, but actually I've been quite intrigued by some advances in tech over the last few years, and something really caught my eye when I watched a video by one of my favourite YouTubers, The Everyday Dad. He did a video on the iPhone SE and basically editing on it. So I was quite intrigued, but also fairly skeptical. Now obviously that's a much newer phone, and in a lot of ways iOS devices are better optimized than Android. In other ways they're not, but you know, I'm not going to start an iOS Android war because I don't really care. Now, just to preface, I'm not about to switch over to editing on a phone. There's just no way I'm going to do that. But I am interested to see what I could actually do with it. I'm really intrigued by the fact that effectively I can kit this out and almost use it like a desktop. Huawei has a really good desktop sort of feature. I can connect a monitor, I can connect an external hard drive, keyboard, mouse, all that stuff, and actually use it pretty functionally as a proper desktop, which is quite interesting. Now this also partly came about because I recently got a new laptop for editing on the go. Now it's nothing particularly special, it's just the Huawei MateBook 13 i5 2020 edition. You are going to notice a bit of a Huawei kind of theme here. Now I am aware of their kind of, let's say, transgressions as of late. I'm not too bothered by that. I like their tech. I'm not particularly worried about any of that sort of controversy stuff. I'm quite interested in portability at the moment. Now, I love my main setup. That's my main thing for most sort of editing scenarios. However, I go away more and more these days for filming, and I need to be able to do stuff on the go. So I am very curious to see what I could actually do with this phone using just free software. It turns out that Premiere Rush doesn't support this phone, and I went through trying out a whole bunch of different apps because a lot of them only run in portrait mode, which is just no help to me, until I finally found the free version of PowerDirector. Now, I don't expect it's going to produce full-on professional results. That's just not going to happen. But if I can do something that's pretty functional and cut together a basic video, then I'm going to be curious to see how that comes about. Now, the P20 Pro's got 6 gig of RAM, which, you know, in a phone, that's pretty good. Now, for editing, not so sure, especially it's going to be 4K GH5 footage. So I've got some existing footage that I shot earlier, which is specifically for this edit, which is going to include just me talking about this phone and just some cutaway shots that I'm going to edit using PowerDirector and this phone connected to all this sort of desktop setup. My phone is actually plugged into the adapter that came with my MateBook. It's only USB-C, so it's being powered, and then I've got an HDMI going into this 1080p monitor, purely because it has built-in speakers, so it saves me faffing around with that sort of thing. I've then got a USB adapter here, and that's got the hard drive plugged in and keyboard and mouse, and obviously it's got the monitor here, and that's it. So this is all running entirely off my phone, and I've got the Huawei desktop thing here. So I know that PowerDirector should load. Should. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're on here. No, I don't want premium, I just want super basic. So new project. This is where we've got to try and find our video. So it's slowly starting to find stuff, really slowly. I think it's literally just searching at the moment, because I know it will find, I know it does recognise the hard drive eventually. P20 Pro edit, here we go. Let's see if it's actually going to find anything. We got one. We got anything else? Okay, so this is really painfully slow. Now, I can't be too annoyed because it's a phone, and this might not be the best optimized system. I suppose it might be faster if I copied over, but in comparison, if I connect this to any computer, even with like 4 gig of RAM, it finds it quickly. I mean, in fact, I can actually show you in File Browser. While the structure's there, it's just really painfully slow. This is quite annoying because when I watched Everyday Dad's video on the iPhone SE, it was loading fine, and he was using, I think, S1H footage. I think it's found everything. So what we need to do first is find, I think it's this one. Do I just add? Oh, probably should convert, shouldn't I? Yeah, let's do that. Let's convert it. Wow. Come on. Any day now. See, this is the thing. This is what I don't understand. You know, I'm seeing people using iPads for editing. I know they're more powerful. I know iOS maybe is better optimized. I'm trying to use this as a professional, I guess, a professional editor. I wouldn't just do it all like this or do it with my thumb or copy to the phone. I would, you know, edit off a drive, usually a faster one. Like, I know it's not the best practice to edit off a USB 3 drive. Usually I edit off the internal drive, off the starter one, which is much faster. Bearing in mind, this is a 2-year-old phone. So I'm sure like the P30 or P40 Pro would work theoretically a lot better, and possibly the software is also just slow. But yeah, so far, not great. I'm going to stop and come back when this is actually converted. We're back to it now. This time round, what I've done is I've actually got my GoPro going on, so I've actually got a face cam, and so I'm not having to kind of turn away all the time. Okay, right, it's imported. It took so long, so I don't really know what to do from here. Do I? Oh, okay. Okay, that doesn't run too badly, actually. That's I think I can work with that. So, okay, what I need to do... Oh, I see. Oh, that's my ugly mug. Right, so can I can't really adjust the timeline. Oh, I can. Oh, I can. Oh, wow, okay. Now, allegedly, this can do... oh, wow, I can even do adjustments. Right. So what I'd like to do is, can I... Okay, I can... Hang on, right. Oh. Are you joking me? No. That can't be right. Hang on. Right, let's just see if I can actually play this. I know it's a big file, so it probably will struggle, but I managed to play some drone footage on here before. I'll be honest, it's not going well. So let's just switch it off desktop mode. Maybe that's not helping. Hello, Adam. Okay, so welcome to the part of the video that's hopefully been edited entirely on this thing using a free app, PowerDirector. Okay, well that's playing audio, so why won't it play through PowerDirector? So now we're using it in phone mode, which... Okay, right. That seems to work. Okay, so it plays through all those fine. Let's just... Right. Where's me? P20 Pro edit. There we go. Right. Let's actually see if I can play this. It might... Okay, so welcome to the part of the video that's hopefully being edited. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do... I'm going to... switch back to desktop mode. So I don't think that's actually making much of a difference. Now I'm actually going to copy it onto the desktop. I think will be the best thing. God, man, that's not great though, is it? So welcome to the part of the video that's hopefully... Okay, well see that works fine. I'd like to copy this onto the phone. Okay, let's see if I can figure this out, because this is so far disastrous. So I'm not going to convert the file because it just, for whatever reason, did not like the audio. If anyone's watching this and you're looking at it kind of screaming at the screen going, Sam, what are you doing? I don't know is the answer. It's finally copied. That was just a painful amount of time, but it's now on the phone, finally. Okay, so welcome to the part of the video. There I am, looking like an idiot. Oh, honestly, I'm losing the will. I really am losing the will for this one. I want to do, at this point, I just want to do it. I want to just try it out. See if I can get anywhere with it. It's funny because, you know, in the Everyday Dad video, the iPhone SE one, it worked so flawlessly. Whereas this just oh, hello. Right. We're adding you in. Use original. I'm not. Oh, yeah, no, right. Okay. So let's begin. Okay, now we're getting to... Okay, right. You can't separate the audio, it doesn't seem. This is free. I've got to remember this is free. So you got audio mixing, so that's something. Right, let's actually zoom right in. Okay. I love the accuracy. Okay, hang on. Wait. That's not bad. So welcome to the part of the video that's hopefully been edited entirely on this thing using a free app, PowerDirector. So this this is actually just going to be, I guess, some of my thoughts on the P20 Pro 2 years later. Right, so do I get like a split? Is there a split? Oh, there is a split function. Okay. Years later. So if I split it there. Okay, we're starting to cook now. That's more like it. Problem is that it just automatically you can't do what you do on Premiere and kind of just leave it in kind of its own space. It's weird. But this is a lot smoother now. I've really enjoyed this phone. This is one of the few phones I've had in my entire life where right. Okay. I think we're going. I think we're going. We've got a lot of options here. I think we've got for sort of adjustments. Okay, we've got contrasts. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly do a little bit of this. I'll do that tint. Oh, I see. Oh, I'll just have to leave that as it is. I'll bring up the saturation a tiny bit, and I'll bring the temperature down. So I've really enjoyed this phone. Hang on. Oh, for God's sake, this is really janky. Right, okay, do you know what? I'm going to pause the video now, and I'm just going to edit it and see how we get on, and then I will come back and we'll kind of reconvene and see how we do. So far, this is infuriating. Yeah, it was a challenge, to say the least. What I ended up having to do was, because you can only have one track on PowerDirector, at least on the free version, I couldn't put any cutaways in. So I've had to just cut the me talking to camera bit, and I'm actually going to have to put it in myself, so you'll see it in a second. I completely forgot to color grade the cutaway clips because it just took so long and it was so infuriating. The color grading on, I actually did color grading on the basic on the talking to camera scenes, and that seemed to work okay. That was what I was quite impressed with. And actually, when you press play, it does kind of play somewhat smoothly, but fine-tune cuts, trying to cut specifically on bits, infuriating. I just couldn't do it. You have to select the clip, and then oftentimes it will bounce back, and it jumps around a lot, and it's clearly designed for touch, but even on touch, I think it would be really, really frustrating to use. I don't see how people do this on the regular. Now, I know there's probably better apps out there for this, and probably better phones for this, but certainly right now, in its current state, I don't see how, because this isn't a bad phone. I know it's a couple of years old, but this phone should be able to handle okay amounts. I think this is better if you've just recorded, like, something on your phone with the phone's built-in camera, and you just want to sort of cut it together a bit and maybe put a bit of music in. That's probably great. It's a freebie, it only does 720p and a watermark, but hey, free software. And I don't want to go paying for the full version, because even though it might have a lot more features, the actual smoothness of using it with my camera and my footage, I don't see how people could use it. And I'm quite envious of people who can use iPhones and actually edit properly. Perhaps in a newer model it would work better. I don't know. Yeah, so here's the footage here. And so I managed to do that bit. So yeah, I'm going to put in the cutaways in a second. So okay, look, it's I like where this is going. We're way off, but it's cool that you've got that option there. Yeah, it's interesting. So anyway, I'm going to copy this footage over now, and you'll see what I've done, and then I'll give my final thoughts. Okay, so welcome to the part of the video that's hopefully been edited entirely on this thing using a free app, PowerDirector. So this is actually just going to be, I guess, some of my thoughts on the P20 Pro 2 years later. So I've really enjoyed this phone. This is one of the few phones I've had in my entire life where even 2 years later, it still runs really well. I love the design. I've actually taken off my case just so I can sort of show it off better. I love the design. I love this kind of midnight, sort of twilight design on the back. It's a really nice screen. Notch has never bothered me. And yeah, overall, I'm just really impressed. It runs every app I throw at it, pretty much. The camera is good, not great. Like, I usually run it in 1080p so I can use the image stabilization, but the 4K is fine. That's probably the most disappointing thing about this phone, but everything else is great. It charges super quick. The one issue I did have is that the water resistant feature failed me on one occasion. I had it left by a hot tub, but just got a little bit of water in it, and it just ruined the screen. Luckily, it was under warranty, amazingly enough. So I've actually had the screen replaced by an official Huawei tech, so although I don't try and test the water resistance feature anymore, technically it is still there. So there's not a lot more I can say about this phone. I'm not particularly fussed about upgrading at the moment because it just does everything I need it to do. It also works really well with my Huawei MateBook. I can actually connect this using Huawei PC Manager. So there's actually going to be a video on my Huawei MateBook coming up very soon to do with editing and stuff. But yeah, overall, great phone. Actually, if you're in the market for an older phone that still runs pretty damn well, this is a good option, as long as you don't mind some of the controversy surrounding it. Personally, I've never had an issue. I've never really had much of a problem with it. This has always worked really, really well, and I would happily recommend this phone, to anyone who needs a decent Android phone that will do everything you need. Okay, so there you have what I was at least able to kind of edit on the PowerDirector free mobile version on Android. Look, it was an interesting experiment. I'm glad I tried it. I'm really envious of people who are actually able to use their phones for it and actually use something like LumaFusion and do it, I guess properly. But for me, that just was not a fun experience. I really like the Huawei desktop app thing. I love my phone still, and it's still a very capable phone. And at times, there were little glimpses where I was like, actually, this kind of works kind of cool. And the fact that PowerDirector actually did work on the sort of virtual desktop thing, but just copying the footage over and transcoding the footage and just all that experience of doing all that just was not fun. I really couldn't recommend doing it like that. Even the frustrating thing was that actually it could be really cool, and I could almost see docking your phone and then you're actually able to get like a desktop experience as being something that's quite exciting. But certainly with the P20 Pro, it might be better on newer phones. I haven't tried them, but certainly if your phone's like a couple of years old, you're not going to have a great experience. A lot of the apps aren't really designed for it, and it's just not there. And actually, funny enough, Windows phone was kind of doing a similar thing, and I think that would have almost been better implemented. But if you're looking to switch from a desktop or a laptop to editing entirely on mobile, maybe try like the iPad Pro. But even then, I can't see why you would, because you just don't get the full functionality. Certainly as a professional editor, and even as a kind of, I guess, enthusiast, you just not really going to get the same experience. That being said, the fact you even can do it is really cool. I liked the fact that I was literally able to connect everything to my phone. I'm only annoyed that I couldn't get the Elgato to work, damn HDCP. But yeah, in the future, I think we'll be able to do more stuff like that. I think there's always going to be a place for big desktops, because the thing is, first off, you have the big hardware that then gets shrunk, and so the desktops will always be able to beat out mobile devices in power, just because they've got more room to do so and better airflow and all that sort of thing. But I do like the fact that, certainly if you look at some of these iPhones and people editing on iPhones and the fact they work surprisingly well, better than they really have any right to, that's pretty cool. So actually, by that logic, maybe this sort of Apple Silicon thing might not be the worst thing. I'm a big fan of x86. I like the fact all programs are exe and all that sort of stuff, but I don't know, maybe the future isn't that. But either way, I'm going to be sticking with desktop. There's, or editing on this laptop. Can't see myself using my phone, but that being said, if we can get it to a point where it can at least be semi-productive using a kind of virtual desktop mode, then I'll be very interested. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. It was kind of a really frustrating video to make, to be honest, but hopefully you got some entertainment out of it. I expect this has probably turned out quite a long video, so apologies for that. We'll be back next week with more videos. So yeah, stick around and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.